And people say Duran Duran can't rock. That is Vertigo Do the Demolition from the 1989 Strange Behavior Tour, or 87 Strange Behavior Tour by Duran Duran. That is an awesome song, one of my favorites.
Rock
and
the
welcome to the show. They can sing. Simon Le Bon, one of the great underrated singers in rock and roll, and underrated lyricist too. TV's Blake Wally. He's got a very interesting set of lyrics, and that, folks, is a good example. And Warren Cucurullo on the guitar. I mean, Andy Taylor is a great guitar player, but Warren, he's fabulous. I mean, yeah, it's a completely fake wig. Warren Cucurullo is bald as a cue ball, but hey, you know, the guitar work was something else on that. I really liked it. So thank you for being here. This is Toxically Masculine Tuesdays, and the fags over here in the chat that were complaining about the song are gone forever, never coming back. Go away. Okay. Welcome to the show. We have, I don't know, guys, it's awfully quiet out there. It's a little scary to me, actually, how quiet it is. And by the way, I'm going to go see Duran Duran May 3rd or 4th at the
Wow.
Vegas. So cool. Anyway, they probably won't play that song. That's a deep cut, but one of my favorites, nevertheless. Anyway, thanks for being here. And there is, you know, I don't know. It seems like there's a weird vibe in the air. Like there's not all this energy that we had last week where there was all this stuff happening, a lot of chaos. But then the chaos hit, God, about an hour ago, a major 7.5 earthquake hit Taiwan just actually about an hour ago. And gosh, you guys, let's just look at some of the videos. It's absolutely crazy. Buildings collapse. This is a landslide. Crazy stuff. There's another one here. Here's a building that's tilted over on its side. There's going to be lots of aftershocks. Just absolutely wild stuff. The kind of thing you don't really expect to see. Here's another view of that same building. Tipped over. I don't know, guys. It looks like, to me, it looks like something out of I don't know, you know, like Cloverfield or something, with the buildings knocked over, with the monsters. Pretty wild stuff. And Blake, you guys know anything about it so far? Have you heard anything, Brooks?
No, I haven't. I know that there are tsunami buoys off the coast, and this quake is so new that these buoys have not even logged in yet. They haven't registered yet, so we don't know if there's a tsunami or not.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that okay, shut up, stop. Okay, the interesting thing is, for me anyway, as somebody who is fascinated by this stuff, is that it comes, Brooks. I wrote a book called The Choice 12 years ago now, 13 years ago, 2010, 14 years ago. And in it, I said that alignments like eclipses have a change in physical reality. There's experiments that prove that, and has a major change in electromagnetic responses. In other words, human consciousness. And it's, to me, just absolutely fascinating that this happens just a few days before the eclipse, because actually in the data, in the hyperdimensional physics, there's this there's these tangential effects before and after, where the response of various experimental tuning forks and things that were measured is actually stronger. So it's like you get a stronger effect before and after the eclipse than you do during the eclipse, but you do get a physical effect. And we have this really weird eclipse coming up on April the 8th, which a lot of people have looked at and said, oh, this whole thing corresponds to dates in some very old books, like from the 1800s, talk about the actual dates of the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ. And it's all April 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
Right when this is happening. And you know, again, we had supernatural darkness happen during the crucifixion of Christ, at least according to some of the records. And that's what an eclipse is, even though people say there was no eclipse back then. What if the dates are wrong? What if the actual years are wrong? So I don't know. I mean, let's take a look at this eclipse real quick, guys, and see what we can. I don't know. To me, it's very bizarre stuff. And here is the actual path of the eclipse. Let me share it. Why doesn't it just like automatically share when I click on it to share? Okay, here's my Facebook page. This is the path of the total solar eclipse. It goes right over Eagle Pass, Texas, where all this political strife has been taking place. It goes all the way through Texas. It encompasses Dallas and Fort Worth. And I don't know. It's just really odd, weird stuff. Now, the interesting thing is, gentlemen, is that several states have actually declared, because of the eclipse, several states have actually declared a state of emergency. And to me, that is one of the more bizarre aspects of this. Yeah. Niagara Falls, for instance, there's a state of emergency. Why would you need a state of emergency for an eclipse? Blake, you got any thoughts on that one?
They must know something we don't. Yeah, we've had many eclipses come and go. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of hype for this one, and I'm taking it seriously. And it seems that the government is too.
Yeah. Brooks, anything you want to say? Like, why would there be a state of emergency because of an eclipse? Does that make any sense to you?
I could tell you, I'm going to go with Ben Davidson on this. There are 2 to 5 eclipses every single year. Every single year. They just don't cross the United States. And nothing happens. There's no earthquakes, no riots, no heavens splitting open, nothing like that. I will say, if anything big happens during this eclipse, the government's behind it.
Okay, well, it is really interesting because in 2017, there was a major eclipse across the United States, split the United States in two. And immediately after the eclipse, 3 identical massive hurricanes formed at 19.5 degrees, which Richard Hoagland is always talking about. That is the latitude at which internal energies trapped inside the Earth, gated in from higher spatial dimensions, are going to emerge. And it's all in his book, Monuments of Mars. It's in our book, Dark Mission. It's in my book, The Choice, that I talked about. And they devastated Puerto Rico and some other areas there in the Caribbean. So I'm saying you've got earthquakes, you've got hurricanes. Let's watch as this eclipse passes whether we have any of these really strange energetic events, because that is something that is concerning.
Yeah, and I agree with you as far as the energetic events. I have been under a totality eclipse before, and it's amazing. It actually takes your breath away. Yeah. I've seen lots of partials, but directly under it, it's like the most amazing thing you've ever seen. It's like you almost have to laugh. It's so amazing. The whole sky goes black. The corona is white, snow white.
The birds stop tweeting. Everything gets silent.
Street lights come on. I mean, it's weird. Now, and this eclipse is twice as long as the one that occurred 6 years ago. This one's 4 minutes and 30 seconds. It's going to be an event and a half.
And the thing is that, you go back and you look at this stuff, and there's a bunch of weirdness around this. For one thing, Blake, they're firing up CERN, the particle accelerator, during the eclipse. Why would they do that unless they're experimenting with some physics that we don't understand, or at least people besides me and Richard Hoagland don't understand? Does that make any sense? Like, why do you think they're firing up this CERN during the eclipse?
Well, it can't be a coincidence. They know something, and the last time they had some weird, like, quasi satanic ceremony. I didn't say quasi; it was like blatant.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was weird. So they're into some really dark stuff, and everybody should be concerned about that.
Well,
what are they
yeah.
actually up to? They know something about the energy fields and what have you, and who knows if they're going to open a portal to hell or another dimension, or maybe hopefully it's good and they'll bring us into another parallel world that's better than this one. Maybe they messed up last time.
A parallel world where Joe Biden is no longer the president. Now, there were experiments, Brooks, in the 1950s. A guy named Jacques Allais, who was a economist, Nobel Prize-winning economist, also liked to dabble in physics, did some experiments with paraconical pendulums. You know what those are, right? That's a free swinging pendulum. Now, if you just let a free swinging pendulum go, and I think there's one somewhere in Washington, D.C., it will swing with the rotation of the Earth. It follows the rotation of the Earth. So what he did is he swung this paraconical pendulum, or a number of them, in his lab underground in Paris during an eclipse, a total solar eclipse like this one right over Paris. And during the eclipse, not only did the pendulum swing much faster, it actually swung backwards against the rotation of the Earth, which defies all known laws of physics. And guess who was desperate to find out about these experiments in 1962 or 1958? Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun, who was trying to figure out why his rockets ended up in 600-mile higher orbits than he expected them to. And a lot of really weird stuff around this. So there's experiments. Now, nobody knows what the Allais effect, nobody knows what it is. There was an attempt to replicate the experiments in 1999 during the total solar eclipse. Oh, by the way, Allais also, this is 52. Allais replicated the experiments in 56 during a more angular eclipse, was not directly over Paris. Same thing happened. And they replicated the experiments in 1999. Dr. David Noever led the NASA team that replicated the experiments, set up pendulums all over the Earth. I think there were 33 locations. And what did that data show? Got any guesses, Blake?
No.
Nobody knows what it showed because he stole it all and quit NASA and nobody's ever seen it. So
wow.
Shit goes down during eclipses. Now, this brings up something even more interesting, which is that NASA is also going to fire up, I think, 3 rockets.
They do that all the time. In fact, they do that. They really almost every eclipse they do that
because I think they're trying to measure the hyperdimensional energy effect. But get this, listen to the director of NASA. Listen to this weirdo, Bill Nelson, the director of NASA. This is just fucking weird. Okay, this is him a couple of days ago. First of all, he calls an eclipse an ellipse, but we'll forgive him for that because he's a dumbass Democrat senator. So let's make sure we get this on screen. Go and go, Bill.
Said that at NASA, our mission is for all humanity, and that's because space brings us together. There's no better proof than moments like this, a total solar ellipse.
No, eclipse, Bill.
It's a moment when millions of people across North America will look to the heavens as the moon passes in front and between the sun and the earth. And it's a rare sight that we haven't seen in 7 years. And unusual things start to happen as the normal rhythms of Earth are disrupted.
Oh, yeah?
When you're seeing this eclipse, you ought to observe this. As the day appears to turn to dusk and then dark, people have heard birds stop singing.
Yeah,
I heard that. Giraffes suddenly begin to gallop. Roosters start crowing, and crickets chirp. So watch for these unusual behaviors. And we encourage you to help NASA observe the sights and sounds around you. Eclipses have a special power. They move people to feel a kind of reverence for the beauty of our universe. Their power is not only to unify us on Earth, but to further science and discovery. In 1919, Albert Einstein's theory of gravitational bending was proven when scientists measured how stars shift when the sun is blocked out by the moon. And today, over a century later, a total solar eclipse still brings great opportunity in science. Dan is going to share a little bit more about
Sounds
how
pretty
NASA
spooky to me.
missions will use this rare moment to advance science.
Okay, that's about enough of Bill. Unusual things start to happen. We should all be watching. And Blake, you want to take, speaking of satanic shit, Blake, you want to take a wild guess what the name of the program is that's going to launch those rockets into the eclipse during the
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm curious.
called Serpent Deity.
Oh,
Okay? Worshipping the reptilian god Moloch, I think it is.
they're not even hiding it anymore. They just don't care.
Anybody else think this is a little weird? I mean, it's not weird to me because I believe I understand the physics through my work with Hoagland, what's going on here and why they're observing all this stuff. But what do you think it means? Blake, you got any thoughts on what it means? Or are something weird scheduled to happen during this time or what?
Yeah, it seems like they're foreshadowing something. Yeah, it's between that and the weird ceremonies at CERN that can't be good. You got a lot of dark energies and a lot of bad people that are operating these systems.
Yeah,
firing rockets, eclipses. Yeah, it's not healthy. Wow.
It's off on a Brooks. Any thoughts about?
Well, it's just so
meaning of any
twisted.
of this?
You know, NASA, CERN, all these multi-trillion-dollar space and physics projects, mixing all this deity energy, devil worship, all this stuff, Shiva. I don't know why they do it. I honestly don't know who names these projects. I thought they have like a recipe box of names like they do tornadoes or hurricanes, but this is just weird. It's just weird. I don't know why somebody in the audience while he was making his speech saying, "Hey, why are you calling them this? Why don't you call them the X1 or the P-51 Mustang? Why are you calling it this? It doesn't make any sense."
Well, it does if you understand their contextual religion. I mean, that's what Dark Mission
Oh, yeah, sure.
was about, the bizarre Egyptian-oriented religion of NASA and how they did this stuff. I mean, they basically landed their spacecraft and launched them and did specific things when the stars were in certain alignments, either because they believed it was something that they should do to appease the gods, or because they believed it created auspicious physics for them to carry these things out. And Hoagland and I documented this stuff for 10 years before we put it in the book. That's that book right there.
Yeah.
And I think they truly believe that this stuff makes a difference, that this will somehow please their gods. And that's also why
Oh my gosh.
That's also why, Brooks, they have to tell us or show us the truth. Okay, they don't have to acknowledge it, but like they're going to give us the real pictures of the face on Mars. They're never going to say the face on Mars is artificial, but they're going to show you pictures of the girders and structures and all the support stuff that's built into the fucking thing. They're just not gonna comment on it because they're not required to, but they do have to give us the truth. They do have to show us the truth at the very least, and it makes me think and really believe this. It's why the Q stuff is attractive. Because they're exposing this secret, bizarre, satanic religion of the elites who have been using this crap, I think, for hundreds of years because they think it gives them power or dominion over ordinary people. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. And that's what they're doing is they're appeasing these demons that they believe have given them power, given them special insight. And so they're naming their stuff after them.
Yeah. serpent deity.
They could have even made deals with dark ETs. I have no idea.
Yeah, and don't think that this stuff. Yeah, you're right. It could even be that. Don't think that this stuff is accidental. There's a lady named Nancy Leader who did a website called Zeta Talk, right?
Oh.
and she's batshit crazy, but she kept telling people that the Zetas, the Zeta Reticulans with the creepy little grays, were giving her all this information. Now, first of all, you should know the grays are all liberal Democrats.
Yeah, probably
Liberal Democrats. But they told her all kinds of stuff. And the first thing they told her was that, well, Nibiru is coming back. And all this stuff that's happening in the news is related to Nibiru. And that's Zecharia Sitchin's 12th planet. And when it gets too close to the Earth, the two magnetic cores are going to align just like batteries or magnets. And the Earth's crust is going to slide and flip. And the whole pole shift thing is going to happen. And the date they gave her, I mean, by the way, the other name for Nibiru is Planet X. The date they gave her was, I believe, May 15th, 2003. Okay? May 15th, 2003. On May 15th, 2003, the United States launched a major offensive combat operation in Iraq, which, by the way, is the country where all of these ancient stories about Nibiru supposedly came from, the cylinder seals and stuff that Zecharia Sitchin interpreted. And they called that operation, codename Operation Planet X. So don't tell me they don't read, they don't watch, and they don't listen. They do all the time. What do you think about that one, Blake?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. As in Mesopotamia and weird ancient cultures, there's a lot of stuff. I remember I used to watch that website back in like the early 2000s, and I thought it was interesting until all of the predictions, of course, never came true.
Came true, yeah.
Right.
Nancy's batshit crazy. So
yeah, it was intriguing at the time, but
well, you know, the only thing is that she probably got it right about the Bushes being shit. But her flip position that the Democrats were good was the part that was insane because they were worse than the Bushes. All right.
Yeah.
Something else happened on the World War III front. The Iranians got the shit bombed out of them by the Israelis. The Iranian embassy in Syria got bombed by the Israelis this week, and it was a pretty interesting, pretty big event. I got some video of it. Yeah, here we go. Let's bring it in and hit play. Here's a video of the impact of the bomb. A pretty big explosion.
الله أكبر على كل منطقة وتجبر. ليك بالشيء.
What do you know about this, Brooks, and what do you think about it more?
Okay. Well, here's what happened. It was an F-35 from Jerusalem or from Israel, the IDF, and they went in. Now, if you look at the film very carefully, the actual embassy, there's not a scratch on it. Okay, it's the building next to the embassy, which happened to be the ambassador's house. He wasn't there at the time. He wasn't killed, but there were 7 people in the building that were. Now, the IDF is claiming they targeted that building because they thought it was a military target. They did not hit the embassy. All the news is saying that they bombed the embassy, but they didn't. And they're quoting international law. You know, this is foreign territory and blah, blah, blah. But technically speaking, they did not bomb the embassy. They hit the building next to it. And they're saying it was a legitimate military target.
Okay. Here's the thing about this. Syria is a very interesting country for reasons that get into the financial stuff that I don't really, that we don't really talk about on the show. But let's go back. As of, I think, the year 2012, there were 5 countries that did not have a Rothschilds or Rockefeller-owned central bank.
That's
actually, this is the year 2000. Those 5 countries were Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Libya, and Russia. Since the year 2000, we have invaded Iraq. We have invaded and overthrown the government of Libya. We have overthrown, through Islamic terrorists, the government of Egypt. We have attempted to overthrow Bashar al-Assad in Syria.
A few times.
And now we are attempting to overthrow Vladimir Putin and the government of Russia. Just out of curiosity, do any of you guys think that's connected?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Anyone that tries to mess with the big banks, has that seems to have a bad fate like Gaddafi did, unfortunately. So they are major targeted. Yeah, Assad. I mean, they went way up. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and then of course, with Libya, that was a disaster. When Gaddafi was weird and eccentric, but he took care of his people. But as soon as he went against the banking cabal, he met a very bad fate. And Assad, I mean, they've tried to make up. They use chemical weapons on his own people. They actually tried to sell that lie to get the world to turn on him, so they could go after the Syria. It's an ugly war, but I mean, the petrodollar is everything. That's where they get all their power from. So they can't have anyone threaten that. And of course, Russia. Now it's Russia's the worst thing ever. He's going to try to take over the world if we don't, give money to all our money to Ukraine and all these weapons. So that's not going well either. That's backfiring. So yeah, it never ends.
Yeah, and what happened with Gaddafi was he was going to create an African version of the euro. It was going to be the African dinar, and it was going to be gold.
It was going to be backed by gold. That's exactly right.
And oil, but gold and oil was going to be.
And who was it that attacked him?
It was the United States. Ultimately,
it was NATO.
NATO,
and Hillary Clinton was behind it.
As she was. It was her plan and his blood and the blood of many others that's on her.
Exactly.
And so it's exactly the same pattern we see now in Russia. The difference is that Russia is a little tougher to take down militarily than Libya was. So we have an extraordinary, bizarre situation setting up. At the same time, this weird eclipse is going off, which I find very, very fascinating. Now, Brooks, what do you think, the implication is of the attack on the embassy? Do you think that they were trying to send a warning sign, or were they trying to kill this guy, the ambassador?
Well, it's a possibility they were trying to kill him, but I think the main goal here was to draw America into a war with Iran. That's what they were trying to do. And that's the bigger picture. They're trying to create, because they realize they can't beat Iran. Iran could wipe out Israel and no problem. And Iran is going to respond. The Ayatollah has already come out and said, we're going to respond, but they're not going to blow up a church. They're not going to blow up a pizza parlor or bomb civilians. They will be very careful. They're not going to bomb the US or anything like that, but they're going to be very careful. They're going to be very targeted, but they're going to let Israel know you can't bomb even close to our sovereign territory. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Guys, I don't have a whole lot more that's really in the news that I want to talk about. Anybody got any things you want to talk about?
There's a little bit of update on the Dolly, the boat.
Oh, yeah.
I was speaking to
hang on. While you talk, I'm gonna upload that.
Okay. I was speaking to a maritime expert who is an expert on American cargo shipping. And he said that these boats are not drive by internet. That is, say, you can't spoof the GPS because they're not using GPS. The pilot's on board. The pilot has his own laptop, and he's giving the captain or the person at the helm, it could have been a captain, could have been his designee, how to stay in the channel and how to get past the bridge. Now, had little Peter Buttcrack not cut back on the tugboat budget 40% in this harbor, there would have been a tug alongside this boat. So if something veered off, they could steer it and keep it in the channel. But little Peter Buttcrack cut that budget, so there are no tugs to be able to do that. So this accident, this attack, is right smack in little Peter Buttcrack's diaper. The other thing is that this boat was at dock for a few days getting unloaded, getting loaded. And he said literally hundreds of people come on and off this boat while it's at dock. There are people delivering food. There are people changing filters out. There are people changing linens, all kinds of stuff going on in this boat while it's at dock. He said, if you're going to attack a boat with a cyber attack, you have to do it on the boat. Now, he said, it's super simple to do. All you have to do is take your own laptop on the boat, plug it into the network of the boat, and let it run the program. Take over the boat and steer it. But he said it leaves evidence behind. We do it all the time to other countries because we attack them. We use these tactics to attack other countries. But usually what happens is special forces goes in and takes the stuff off the boat. So there's no evidence. What did the FBI do? They went right on the dolly and took everything, including the black box. And guess what was missing? 2 minutes. 2 minutes of data missing.
Wow.
The key 2 minutes. The FBI went in there and scrubbed it all. That equipment that took over that boat and crashed it into the bridge as a strategic, purposeful attack on that bridge was on the boat. It was malware that was physical equipment that was put on that boat while it was at dock.
Okay, so there's been 2 other bridges struck by boats since then, and you would think they would be kind of on top of this. Somebody tried to argue with me on Twitter X that Pete Buttplug is what I call him on Twitter X that oh well, when the power goes out, the black box basically stops running, which is
it has its own battery.
Ridiculous. It should. What's the point of having a black box if it doesn't run when the power goes out? Battery backup. Oh, but the voice recorder had a battery backup. So we've got the voice recorder, which doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you what the steering inputs were. There were steering inputs.
Something like, "Oh my God, we're going to hit the bridge."
It has been admitted that there were steering inputs made. What has not been revealed is what they were. And FBI investigators have that data, and it has not been released.
Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. It's in the room right next to Hunter Biden's laptop.
There you go. Hunter Biden's laptop and Anthony Weiner's laptop. Absolutely. Frazzle drip. It hasn't been released, and I don't think it ever will be released in its original form, because I think somebody hacked this thing one way or the other. Blake, am I crazy for thinking that?
No, not at all. That's pretty interesting story there, and that makes them kind of complicit. And
well, what really makes them complicit is Joe Biden within 24 hours steps in and says, "Oh, there's not going to be an insurance investigation. We're going to pay for everything."
Yeah. Wow. Why would he do that? To cover up what was done. Now, if this was an external terrorist attack, then Joe Biden is complicit for being an abject fucking failure at protecting the country. If this was an internal banking cabal attack, then Joe Biden would be exposing his own buddies. And I guess the purpose is to undermine the infrastructure of the United States, the shipping infrastructure, in order to create a crisis where they can declare martial law and take over and cancel the elections. And where have I heard that story? Where have I heard that idea before?
And I think that's I think you hit the nail on the head, because look at the mess that it has created. Okay, it's a Singapore ship. A Japanese ship on a Singapore flag with an Indian crew that's contracted to the Dutch. Look at all the insurance companies that are going to be suing each other. Plus, there are boats that are trapped in that harbor. They can't get out. They can't do commerce. So they're going to sue the harbor. I mean, this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar courtroom battle for a decade. And I doubt they'll have the steel cleaned out of the water for a month.
Okay, Blake, do you see a nefarious pattern here of undermining American infrastructure in the last 3, 4, 5 years? We've seen all the chicken farms being burned, billions of chickens murdered.
Meat processing plants.
meat processing plants. Now they're trying to come up with a fake bird flu to give them an excuse to kill more chickens, to get us to eat the bugs.
They had a fire in Texas, right at the main beef processing headquarters of Texas. Biggest fire in the state's history.
Yep.
And
Wow.
they can't process cows.
And now they're taking down the bridges. So do you think this is all connected, or is it just all a happy coincidence? What do you think?
No, unfortunately, it does look like it's all connected, and this has got to be some kind of a big plot to take America down. Yes, the globalists, World Economic Forum, what have you. They need to bring America to its knees.
And what are they trying to stop? They're trying to stop the 2024 election. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop the election from happening. Now, the big question is there going to be a Democrat on the ticket? We don't even know. You know, they might say, well, we can't have an election with just a Republican on the ticket. That wouldn't be democratic. You're going to watch it start unfolding. You know what we did with the last election, right? They brought in COVID. They trumped it up to say it was going to be a killer disease. And it's kind of interesting because the libs thought that COVID was going to kill us all, but it didn't. They took the jab, and now the jab's killing them.
Yeah, exactly, which is really interesting. Okay, so that's interesting, the 2024 election, because some new information is coming out about the 2020 election in Georgia. And Kyle Becker, a guy that I follow on Twitter, apparently, Twitter X, posted this information. I can't make it any bigger. Sorry. In 2020, Georgia ran an illegal election. Hearings today that took place. There's evidence of missing chain of custody documents, missing surveillance tapes of drop boxes, signature verification errors, dirty voter rolls, invalid votes, double scanned ballots in the initial count, Fulton County ballot scanned without election observers. You can quibble about rigged or stolen, but you cannot argue that election laws were followed. It's obvious the election is rigged when the laws systematically are not followed and favors one party over another. Americans can't trust elections with mass mail-in ballots when the system is ripe with opportunities for malfeasance. Now, that's interesting because it's one of just many other proofs that the election was stolen. But hey, look, there's the penguin in New York City. But Emerald Robinson posted something today that I think is kind of interesting. Here she is. Let's take a look at what she said. She said, I've spent the last 3 years with every election integrity expert and cybersecurity expert in America. They agree almost nothing has changed since 2020. Hope is not a strategy. Registering new voters is not a remedy for rampant voting machine fraud. If, Brooks, 2020 has not been fixed, why do they want to stop 2024?
Well, because I don't think they get away with it. Trump's going to win 87% of the vote. You can't cheat your way out of that.
But you
can't
can.
cheat your way out of it.
You can. Look at Brazil. Look at what happened in Brazil. I mean, you can, you know. So,
well, you can jail your opponents, which is what they're trying to do right now.
Right. And they're not doing so well.
Now, Fanny Fo Fanny's in big trouble. You know, the judge that said, okay, this was very bad. You sleeping with the prosecutor, taking taxpayer funds and going and partying on it and using cash to cover up the stained sheets. But I don't like it. So one of you has to go. What do you mean one of you has to go? Both of you have to go. So there is a judge reviewing that judge's decision. And there's a chance that Fanny Fo Fanny's going to be out. And when that happens, her whole DA's office goes with her. They have to replace the DA and the whole office, which means the case has to be brought again. Now, I'm not saying they can't get another grand jury and go through it all over again, but this has got a bad taste in people's mouths.
Well, that's interesting because Jennifer Doring, my co-host on tomorrow's show, did her Gentel segment today on her own show because she didn't do it on mine. She did it on hers. Just that I get that jab in there, Jen, in case you're watching. She does this thing where she asks her higher ups, right? Higher angels, you know, what are we going to see in the news this week? First thing, earthquake. Guess what just happened? An earthquake. One of the other things she said, there's military charges. Now, she didn't know if that means the military is going to charge somebody with something or they're setting charges like on bridges or something. The other thing she got, which I found really, really fascinating, is 2 words: charges dropped. So you just set up a scenario where that Gentel prediction could come true too. So we'll see. I know that's not really hard news, but it I don't know. Let's watch it and wait and see.
I like it.
All right, guys. Slow news
did
tonight.
you see Trump speak today?
I did not see it yet. No.
Oh my gosh, he looks 15 years younger.
Yeah.
He looks amazing. He sounds amazing. The crowd, there was not an empty seat in the whole place, and he's delivering policy. He's delivering policy from the mic. It's crazy.
Well, he is. He's doing these heavy policy oriented, policy wonky kind of speeches in his own inimitable style. But why is he doing this? If he's acting, Brooks, like what we were just talking about, Blake. He's acting like it's going to be a real election. Why would he be doing that, Blake?
Well, one of the things that everybody takes for granted. I'm sorry, you went to Blake. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead. Finish it. Go ahead. No, go ahead and finish.
One of the things that everybody takes for granted is that like 80% of black people are going to vote for Trump.
No,
and
or Biden.
I vote for Biden. I don't think that's going to happen this time.
No,
because Trump's coming out and he's actually making policy and mentioning black people, like black enterprise zones, black business loans. He's going to create like 500,000 new black businesses. There's nobody in the Democrat side giving policy like that.
No,
they're not giving specifics at all. They're just basically saying, if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. I don't think that's going to fly this time.
Yeah, and I also, I think Trump got, in reality, 25 or 30% of the black vote in 2020, and he's going to get more like 50% of it in 2024. And you're right, that kind of a tidal wave is going to be hard to hide, but they're still going to do it. They're still going to. And so I keep wondering again, what's going to stop them? Any thoughts on that? I mean, that's the thing, Blake. Why, he talks about rigged elections, but he's really low key about it. He doesn't talk about, we've got to do this in this state, we've got to do that in that state. He just acts like it's going to be taken care of. Do you think that means anything, Blake?
I don't know what to make of that specifically, but it's good that he's refreshed, he's confident, he's looking great. He's a formidable opponent, and the Democrats thought this was going to be easy. They would just destroy him, and that the country would love, it would cheer him on going to jail. But everything they've thrown at him has backfired bigly, as Trump might say. So yeah, they're panicking, they're polling, and yes, the Biden is about as weak as it can get, and they just don't control the narrative and control the media the way that they used to. So they know, and yes, as Brooks said, they played the pandemic card last time, and maybe their only way out of this is to suspend the elections somehow, some way, get us embroiled in some conflict somewhere so they don't have to do it. Otherwise, they see the writing on the wall, and that's the end of them.
I think it would take more than a conflict, because we've had elections during civil wars, world wars.
Right.
That's not going to stop it. What's going to stop it is going to be conflict in our country.
Yeah. Like
20 metropolitans attacked at the same time by terrorists. That's not even going to stop it. It's going to be our reaction to that could stop it.
Yeah, good point. Everybody's got to keep a cool head and not fall for any government psyops that are going to get people angry enough to do something stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, before we get to predictions, couple housekeeping things. Don't forget, you can find TV's Blake Wally over on the nextlevelnews.com, where you can get, there we are from last Tuesday. Great picture, Blake. I love how you picked those up. Where you can pick up Blake's latest shows, the Agree to Disagree show he does with Brian Engelman, a couple of times a week. all of his other articles, live shows. I used to write, Blake, but I find it's just easier to do videos now and talk about what I want to talk about. What do you think?
100% agree. I used to write articles. I haven't done a blog or a blurb in a while. I just do the bullet points for the shows now.
Yeah.
I might have to just try to get AI or something to do some quick blurbs just to put more material on the site. But I 100% agree with you, Mike.
It's interesting. Can you use AI? Can you say, go to this video and give me a transcript and then rewrite it so that it's an article? Can you do that? Can you actually do that?
It could hurt you in the algorithms. I think Google can sense it. So I don't think I drive that much traffic anyway. So I'm not too worried about it.
Well, all I'm saying is I would use that and then create a written blog post based on the video from the video's transcript.
Yeah, there might be. I haven't really tried to work with it too much, but just something I've been thinking about.
Expert in it. You need to become the expert, Blake, so that
for sure.
By the way, thank you for the little introduction to my Seahawks blogs. By the way, I have a new Seahawks oriented channel, Seahawk Boys, Fearless and Stupid NFL channel, where I just talk about football. Why? Because I like to talk about football, and Seahawks fans are so stupid. I'll tell you how stupid they are in a minute. Brooks, why don't you tell us what is going on over at brooksagnew.blog?
Before we do that, I want to let you know that Trump did make his bond. He paid it cash.
Yeah.
Cash. And that means now the appeal can go forward. So Big Tish is going to be in big trouble.
Yeah. And Big Tish has some big tishes because I've seen them. I've seen her nudes. They are horrible, but they're out there.
Bigger now than
they are horrible, but they're out there. Go watch. Go check them out and spread them far and wide. Okay, Brooks, tell us what's going on over at brooksagnew.blog.
If you go to my website, brooksagnew.com, it's the right site because that's my name right there on the front of it. If you click on that left-hand button, it says Ivan and Roxy without a prescription.
There you go.
I'm trying to make it so simple for you. No menus or anything. Just click the button. You go right there and you can get ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine for yourself without a prescription at cost, shipped directly from the manufacturer to your house. Thousands and thousands of people have done this. We've kept now over 34,000 people out of the hospital with these amazing medications. I feel like the laser sight on the middle of my back has kind of dimmed a little bit because the FDA had to admit that they were wrong, saying that we couldn't use these things to fight COVID, but now we can. And I'm not out of the woods yet, but I'll keep going as long as I can go. If you don't have these in your medicine cabinet, you are vulnerable to disease X, and trust me, it's coming.
I use it myself. And, I'm amazed. There's still friends of mine on Facebook and stuff that I can't believe it. They actually, they're like, oh, I'm so sick. I've got the flu. I'm like, take ivermectin. They're like, well, how do I get it? And I'm like, well, I've been telling you to go to Brooks Agnew for 2 years now, or 3 years, or whatever it's been.
I had a letter today from a lady who learned about it from her yoga teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Her 89-year-old mother got COVID and they thought she was going to die. She had the ivermectin, ran it over to her house, and 2 days later she was well. And she wrote me a letter about it. I get them all the time. This stuff is amazing.
Well, I'm kind of casual friends with Tony Bruno, who used to be a very famous sports talk guy from Philly. And he and Robin, his fiance, got very sick with COVID, and I overnighted them some of your ivermectin that I got from you, and it brought them out of it. And now they have a supply of it. And Tony did me a solid, put me on his show at the Super Bowl. That was awesome. He's another example. He's older than me. He's in his 70s, and you need this stuff. And anytime they get sick now, they pop the ivermectin and it goes away. So,
I get the first little sign of sniffles or sore throat, boom, ivermectin, gone.
Sure. And half the time, I have a lot of stomach issues because of my diabetes, but half the time I'm like, could I possibly have the flu? If I feel a little bit feverish, down goes the ivermectin quickly.
Yeah, buddy.
Up, right? So it's good stuff, and it starts the cure right away. Also,
if you're planning on traveling, like getting on a plane with a bunch of other people you don't know, or going to a concert or a convention, take ivermectin. protect yourself.
I am going to definitely take some before I go see Adam Ant and Duran Duran this next month. So
I love Duran Duran. I like, what is it? Rock the Casbah. What is the name of
no,
that
that's the
song?
Clash. Come on.
Oh, is it really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I like Duran Duran though. They're awesome.
If I was gonna put a Clash video on here, it would not be Rock the Casbah. That's an idea though. I have all these songs in my like. I've got to do this band, for the opening. I've got to do this band. I didn't remember. I didn't think we'd done Duran Duran before, so I did.
Nope, we haven't.
Next week, I think it'll be Collective Soul, but I'm not positive.
Ooh.
All right. Also, please do not forget if you to hang out with what am I talking about? Go over to MikeBarraPets.com, MikeBarraPets.com, where you can pick up all kinds of very cool mushroom-based organic treats for your dogs and cats that do wonderful stuff for them.
Nice.
It's based on the Coriolis versicolor mushrooms and the antler powder, and they also have mixtures with the reishi mushrooms, which are really, really great for cat and dog health. I've got my kitties and my dog Barkley on it. You just click on the shop button, shop now, and there's tons of products for dogs, for cats, for horses, and for human beings. There's Enforce Coriolis versicolor. There's the Enforce Restore, which is great for your organs like your pancreas and your liver. Enforce Clarity for keeping your brain sharp. And then there's Mush Ponies for the horses, Mush Puppies for the dogs. Between the Mush Puppies and these Mojos, Barkley loves. Every dog I've given these Mojos to, they're liver-based treats with the mushrooms in them, supporting their immune system. Dogs go crazy for them. They're wonderful for their health. Barkley's energy level is about 5 times. I'm not going to exaggerate. About 5 times what it was.
Wow.
Before I started putting him on this stuff. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm not sure if it's the Mojos or the Mush Puppies or a combination of both, but I've got him on those. Miss Fluffy Muffy was recently diagnosed as diabetic. She had a UTI. She's just so finicky. I can't get her to take any of these things. So I'm working on it though. So get on over to MikeBarraPets.com and pick some stuff up for your horse, your dog, your cat, or yourself. Also, please do not forget to visit our wonderful sponsors, the CBD Gurus over at thecbdgurus.com, where you can pick up all kinds of wonderful CBD products for your health. Just slide over to wholesale, click on Mike B Wholesale, type in the discount code LIEN, and pick up this week's wholesale discounts. They've got the immunity formula, lion's mane, some new products coming out, and you get foreign currency with it. You get some Bolivar, some Dong, some Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, the Miracle Gold, all kinds of great products. They all work great. They relax you. There's the sleep gummies, lots of cool stuff over there at the CBD Gurus. Okay, guys, that's the sales pitch for tonight. Thanks for being here. But now it's time for predictions. And I'm going to start with my prediction for this week. My prediction is based around the eclipse, and my prediction is that between now, the 2nd, and the 12th, I don't get any credit for the earthquake that already happened. There are going to be some significant Earth changes in the sense of the eclipse on a week or so on either side of the eclipse. Usually within a couple of days, you are going to see huge storms, hurricanes, cyclones, and or earthquakes. You're going to see more earthquakes. You're going to see more cyclones. We're going to have something major happen here, like those 3 hurricanes that magically appeared at 19.5 degrees and assaulted Puerto Rico back in 2017. So that stuff's going to happen. That's my prediction, and it's very specific. Maybe go through the 2nd through the 12th. Something else is going to happen besides this earthquake. I wish we had the show a few hours earlier, and I made this prediction because I was going to make this prediction anyway, and I would have looked like a genius, as Jen did, with the earthquake in Taiwan. Okay, any predictions, political or supernatural or physical or otherwise, for you, Dr. Brooks Agnew?
Well, a while back, I remember making a prediction that there was going to be a comet. And I did not know this, but during the eclipse, you're going to be able to see a comet, and it's called the Devil's Comet.
Holy
It's a
shit.
long way from here. It's not going to hit the sun or anything, but it will only be visible during the eclipse. It's going to be very freaky. It's going to be red.
Almost makes me want to fly to Dallas and check that out. But I guess it's going to be the prediction right now is cloudy and rainy on the day of the eclipse over Texas. So that'll be too bad. All right, Blake, any predictions yourself on what's going to happen this week in the news or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's going to be some major stuff either like immediately before or after the eclipse. So I will go with a similar prediction in that vein, and maybe I'll just be more specific. Maybe another infrastructure disaster.
Another
not too bad.
Okay,
but,
and
Baltimore
by that we mean big enough to keep P. Diddy off the news.
Oh, wow.
That big for it to count.
Probably, yeah.
It has to be that big.
All
right,
a lot of people sweating spinal fluid over that one because they got Oscars and gold records and Grammys and all that because of P. Diddy.
And LeBron James is probably sweating more than anything else.
But he's a good basketball player. You don't have to have special favors done for you to get you in. But I did see the picture of a very svelte, almost nightgownish Kamala Harris standing with P. Diddy, though.
Yeah, and she also used to be Montel Williams' side chick. We have a vice president who was once Montel Williams' side chick. So you want me to? I got that picture somewhere. You want me to dig it up? It's not.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's amazing.
Come swallow Harris. Oh, there's video where he tells everybody who she is. Kamala Harris. Keep that name in mind. Yeah, because it's all arranged and planned.
Yep.
Come swallow Harris.
Yep.
All right.
We got to have somebody in the White House.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. That's going to wrap up the news thing. I will be back tomorrow morning. Hi, Victoria. I will be back tomorrow. Guns of Brixton. No. London Calling. Come on. Hellwig. Come on. London Calling. By the way, Hellwig, did you miss the Duran Duran introduction today? Because the start of this video was a Duran Duran video. The start of this show was a Duran.
By the way, by way of announcement, Steve Garvey is kicking Adam Schiff's ass right now in California. Oh, yeah. A Republican going to replace a Democrat.
Yeah. That's not a very difficult prediction. Seahawks.
Well, I wish they could replace Waters and let's see, Pelosi and who else is crazy out there?
Schumer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Schumer talks to an invisible dog, and his wife is a dude. So that's Chuck. Pictures of his wife, right? Dude,
oh yeah,
ugly dude.
Yeah,
not even an attractive dude, ugly dude. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for being here. Jen and I will be back tomorrow morning for Tell the Truth Wednesday, and then I am probably not gonna do Whiskey and Wisdom with Mark Z because I have a date with a lady friend tomorrow night. At least I do as of this moment. So everybody hang in there. Have a great week. Watch the eclipse. We'll be back Tuesday, the day after, right? It'll be the day after.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens and see if we have anything to talk about. But keep your eyes on the eclipse because, I don't know if it's just Blake, if it's just a bunch of symbolic, devil-worshipping, satanic crap, or if they really are doing it because they're really making a big deal out of this one because they think something's going to happen. I don't know.
If you've never seen an eclipse in totality and you're 50 miles from this path or whatever, make a drive. Yeah. It's worth it.
Yeah, because there was one in 1980. There was a nearly total solar eclipse in Seattle. It was really close. It was like 90% or something, and it got dark as night, and the birds stopped chirping, and this calm, quiet. It's a weird experience.
It's spooky.
It's a spooky experience. All right, guys. Love you. See you next time.
Thank you.